Okay, so I think this is an episode which I've really been looking to do. I've wanted to touch on it, but I think I waited until the semester began. And today I'm going to speak about some of the biggest lessons that I learned whilst I was still back in university over all my years within university. So I think one of the biggest things, and of course you guys all already know this, but there's such a massive jump between high school and university as well. And it's not necessarily just the content course and stuff. Of course, that's a lot more difficult and it's a lot more work. But I think just the general life as well, and the independence you have when you're in university, and I think the growth that you also go through within university. So I think one of my biggest lessons to start off is surround yourself with the right people. I think this is super important, but there's a saying, and I truly believe that it's very true, but you are who you surround yourself with, and you inevitably are your friends, essentially. So the people that you surround yourself with really define you in more ways than you potentially actually know or realize. So be careful who you surround yourself with. Of course, if you surround yourself with, perhaps, let's say for example's sake, you're someone who's looking to do very well academically, perhaps achieve a distinction, what have you, or just even pass the qualification, but the people that you surround yourself with are not very focused on university, and perhaps they go out all the time and aren't really too worried about their academic results. Of course, if you hang out with these people often enough, this sort of mindset is going to rub off on you and is going to end up affecting your academic results. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I've seen people who were ambitious when they began, who wanted to do great things in university, get their degree, get a great job, all that stuff, but ended up being a bit side-railed by perhaps the people that they surrounded themselves with, because those people didn't necessarily have the same goals as them. So it's important to understand your own goals, what you want to achieve, and try as far as possible to surround yourself with people who have similar goals or similar ambitions as well, because this will tremendously push you in achieving your own goals as well. And I think very important as well, try to an extent surround yourself with people who somewhat excel you in various areas and aspects of life and academics and stuff, because that also gives you something to work towards. Because of course, if you're the sort of highest achiever in your group or the best at everything, then there's no real opportunity for growth. So this is the biggest thing I've learned, and I started with it first because I really think this is a big defining point. And building on this, it's so important to know when to play and know when to focus and work. I think it's very important to distinguish these two. And in me saying this, I'm not necessarily saying that you can't have fun, you can't go out, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's not what I'm saying at all. Don't get me wrong. That's okay. It's fine to do that. But just know where to draw the line. And I think always remember why you came to university in the first place. And the reason you are in university or in tertiary education is to get your degree, to get your qualification, your diploma, whatever it is, and to start building a better life for yourself. I think always have that perspective and that understanding of why you're in university, and separate your activities and understand that, of course, studying and working towards passing is your primary activity, and perhaps going out, enjoying yourself, being with friends, all that stuff are secondary activities. Don't mix the two, and don't try integrate the two. Really ensure that you separate the two, and make sure that when you are studying, when you are working, when you are doing projects or studying for tests and exams, all that stuff, focus on that, solely focus on that, put your all into that. And similarly, when you're going out, when you're having fun, when you're relaxing, focus on that as well. That's why I say know when it's time to play and know when it's time to work, because I think in me having this balance and having very healthy habits, and also going out here and there, having a good time with friends and focusing on that, and also balancing that with working hard academically and making sure that I do succeed, I do pass my qualification, and I do build a better life for myself. That balance, I think, really got me through university, always understanding what I should be doing now, and if I wasn't doing what I should have been doing, then correcting myself and putting myself on that path. And I think this really builds nicely onto one of my next lessons, which I learned, which is focus. Focus. I think I touched on it a bit in the previous lesson, but focus is so important. Being able to zone in and the task that you're doing, solely focusing on that. I think 99.99% of students, and me included, I used to do this as well, but it was a habit that I worked hard at sort of reducing. But majority of students, when they study with their phone sat right there next to them on their table, or their device, their tablet, whatever, just sat literally there next to them. And you will not focus as long as your phone is next to you, because it's too easy to access. It's too easy to literally get on your phone. If maybe, let's say, for example, you want to check a message, now you start going into a rabbit hole of checking people's statuses, then you end up going on Instagram, and boom, 1 hour is gone, 90 minutes is gone, you're just scrolling and all that. So really be able to create silos of space for yourself, where when you do a certain piece of work or task, create a silo where you solely focus on that and that alone. And once again, that really helps you reduce your burden towards the latter weeks of tests and exams. Maybe let's say a week before, you have less burden because of course you've worked hard, you've focused more, and the amount of time you put into the work you did beforehand was effective because you actually were able to memorize and understand the work properly because you were focused. And I think focus also applies to lectures as well. I think lectures are a space that a lot of students a lot of us end up sort of not seeing as too important. I'll be very honest with you, and I'll be open with this. I also in my early years of undergrad didn't really value lectures that much, didn't see it as too important. But I think as I progressed further in my degree, I began to understand the importance of lectures and actually being present in the lecture, not just being there and attending the lecture, but actually focusing in on the lecture and really trying to absorb as much information. And I did this quite a bit in my honors year, but actually engaging, asking questions, and really trying to deeply understand the work. I think this approach that I took, this was one of the main reasons why I passed my honors year. And for those who don't know, I did my honors in accounting science, also known as CTA, the hardest year of my life by far. But me just engaging in those lectures really took me a lot further than I would have gone. And I think one of my last sort of lessons here, and I think it's more of a generic one, not necessarily academic, but people don't care. People don't care. Trust me when I say this. I think sometimes we overvalue what people think of us, but know that people are focused on themselves. Just how you're focused on yourself, how you look, how you hold yourself, the things you do, the person next to you is doing the exact same thing. They don't care about what you're doing. So know that people really don't care and allow yourself to be yourself. Don't be susceptible to I'm not going to use peer pressure, I think that's not the right word, but to the pressures of what's happening around you, to trying to conform to the environment around you. There's no need for that in university. You really can be your own person. And so strive for that, be comfortable in your own space. And if you find yourself not being comfortable within your social space, then find new friends, find a new social space. That's also okay. Things change, friendships change, relationships change as well, and that's fine. That's part of life. And my last one, I think I have to squeeze this in, but this is one that I particularly struggled with because I'm very extroverted. But be comfortable with being alone. be comfortable with being by yourself. This was a difficult one for me because, as I said, I'm very extroverted. I found it very difficult to be by myself. I always sought to surround myself with people, but it's okay to be by yourself. It's actually, I think, quite healthy and important as well, just being in your own space and being comfortable within your own skin, because I think sometimes when we're alone, thoughts start going through our minds, and some are good, some are not so nice. So be comfortable in your own skin. So yeah, I think this is just some stuff that I picked up in university. Of course, I really hope that you resonate with this on some level, and I really hope that this has helped you out on your journey. And once again, thanks so much for joining me. Below is another episode that you can check out. And yes guys, as always, until the next one, let's continue on our journey in creating a better world.